the honourable member for Saskatoon Grasswood.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It gives me privilege here this afternoon to speak on Bill C-13, TFA, the Trade Facilitation Agreement. Well, as we all know, we've stated here in this House for the last day and a half, Canada is a trading nation, always has been and always will be, despite what is decided this year, this decade, this century. Canada is known for trading. The early days of the traders who came over to this country and settled many centuries ago, and we should be reminded also of our First Nations, because they were the first real traders of this country, and they continue to be a valuable asset, Mr. Speaker, to this country. Well, our previous Conservative government raised the bar, I think, on trade. We started with the 5 agreements. We're at 51 now, and with a country so rich in resources, trade, we all agree, is essential in growing our economy here in Canada. Canada needs to be a part of this trade agreement. As you know, it takes 2/3 of the WTO membership to make this happen. And we, when we get there, hopefully will be part of this solution. This agreement seeks to level the playing field, and it will also help the developing countries. And I have a couple of instances where I'm going to talk about developing countries, because often we talk in this House about big business. But I'm going to talk about how we in Canada, with our innovation, can help those in need throughout the world. And I think that's an important part of this equation. So at the end of the day, this is all about making sure that we have global standards, Mr. Speaker, that truly are enforceable. The Trans-Pacific Partnership, we've talked a lot about that, and we'll talk more in the House this coming year. TPP, no question, it is the most comprehensive trade agreement in the world today. And I really, truly believe we must be a part of it. We should reflect on the great work done by this previous government and the lead minister in this TPP from Abbotsford, BC. My province of Saskatchewan certainly salutes him. We averaged $23 billion annually from the years of 2012 to 14 in trade. The TPP will eliminate the tariffs on almost all of Saskatchewan's key exports and will provide access to new opportunities, especially in the area from Asia Pacific. Saskatchewan will benefit immensely from agriculture and agri-food. We recently toured the Port of Vancouver, and I was delighted to see the rail cars come from Saskatchewan with the word Saskatchewan on them in the Port of Vancouver, dumping their grain to the ships to export worldwide. It was a thrilling moment to see the end of that. And I, of course, being from Saskatchewan, know this is an important time in our province with the harvest that is going on. So our grains, our agri-food certainly is a big part of who we are in this country. 2 weeks ago, Mr. Speaker, I had the opportunity to tour a potash mine in Allen, Saskatchewan. It was a real eye-opener to see what goes on in the potash industry. We spent the better part of the morning underground and then toured their facilities on surface as they prepare to ship with Saskatchewan product to the world. Again, potash cars heading west with Saskatchewan product gives one from our province a sense of pride in the work that is being done by our men and women in the province of Saskatchewan each and every day. We all know potash feeds the world, and even underdeveloped countries. And I should add a number of new developments in potash have started in my province. We have the big miners like BHP putting through their mine in Jansen. And I want to talk about another mine that's coming up, K+S, originating from Germany. They're in the southern part of Saskatchewan. But not only are the big producers benefiting from this agreement, I want to say a number of the smaller ventures are also benefiting. Mines like Carnolite, that is starting a project in Wynyard, GenSource, and many other small operations that are exploring the possibility of exporting their product worldwide. And I have to say, Mr. Speaker, pulse crops are really big in our province of Saskatchewan. Recently, I was flying back to Ottawa from Saskatoon, and a delegation from the University of Saskatchewan was on the flight from Saskatoon to Ottawa. They were going to a country called Ethiopia to help partner with that country. Ethiopia, as we all know in the House, is struggling. But the University of Saskatchewan has reached out trying to develop their farming industry in pulse crops. They believe pulse crops can be grown in Saskatchewan and also in Ethiopia. Canadians, as we all know, have great innovation skills, and we love sharing our knowledge worldwide to make this a better place to live. And that's what I mean about helping underdeveloped countries, such as Ethiopia, reach their potential. Now, I know several businesses in Saskatchewan that trade daily with countries around the world. I'm going to take one in my city, Nutana Machinery. They're in the city of Saskatoon. They supply mining equipment not only in our province, but around the world. Now, imagine the sense of pride of the workers at Nutana Machinery when they see their work actually being produced in Saskatoon. We talked about produced and also shipped over to Europe. And machinery, now because of the internet, they can deal with problems. If they do have an issue in Europe, they ship the product over to Europe. Romania is one place that I've seen where they have shipped some goods and then they can deal with it on internet and they can actually see the end product. They build it in Saskatoon and then it's shipped to, let's say, Romania. They can see the end product and how it's working over there. And I might say they employ right now a healthy workforce. They live in our province of Saskatchewan, and they certainly help our local economy. Now, most of our farm machinery outlets reach out to the world with their product and their knowledge. In a small community, Mr. Speaker, of St. Brew, population of just over 600, it's a farm manufacturer called Bourgault Industries. They do millions of dollars a year overseas. Now, looking at their website today, they have advertising employment opportunities for assembly workers, for painters, for welders, for engineers, for maintenance. All this in a community of 600 in St. Brew. Well, they travel Europe several times a year. In fact, Mr. Speaker, I actually have a relative that works at Bourgault in St. Brew. He travels to Europe several times a year, not only building relationship, as you know, is an important part of business, and they have really adopted a second family from Germany, and they go back and forward. Bourgault Industries, one of the big success stories in our province. I come from Humboldt. It's the area called Iron Triangle. Manufacturing firms have set up everywhere around the Humboldt community, places like Anaheim, Engelfeld, and I mentioned St. Brew. Communities, probably, Mr. Speaker, that wouldn't exist today if not for some previous trade agreements. All of these communities have welcomed experienced workers from all over the world to come to Canada and start a new life. They have fit in well in our communities in Saskatchewan. They have contributed greatly to the economy and well-being of rural Saskatchewan. And I would say, without rural Saskatchewan, would be a ghost town without these trade deals. My late father, I think, was born too soon. He was the head flour miller for Robin Hood. He started his career in Ontario, went to Moose Jaw, later Saskatoon, and he moved to Humboldt to help the Humboldt flour mills. And even in the 60s, the flour that he produced was sent all over North America. Imagine now, Mr. Speaker, who is living today, hearing about this opportunity to show the world your product and the quality that you can produce to others in other countries. This agreement, as we all know, will give Canadian businesses access to over 60% of the world's economy. The gains from tariff elimination and improved market access in agriculture are especially significant in the markets of Malaysia. We've talked about Vietnam here in the House, and also Japan. Let's think about the market of Japan. 32% of tariff lines on ag and ag food products will be duty-free upon entry. That's a real opportunity for our economy, especially our beef and pork producers. They'll have access to that huge market. This will have a big impact, I think, on small and medium businesses. Trade missions to other parts of the world is a normal process in this country. There isn't a province and a territory now that doesn't do these trade missions worldwide. We have one from our province right now in South Korea. So, Mr. Speaker, Canada must act quickly, I feel, on Bill C-13. 800 million new potential customers are waiting for Canada. Canada is known for its hard work. We're known for our quality products and innovation. Let's not get in the way of this process. Thank you.